G'day ladies and gentlemen, we are Callum
and Ben
from Abacus Productions and welcome to the Second Chance Cinema.
Here at the Second Chance Cinema, we love nothing more than to give movies with a bad reputation one final opportunity to bask in cinematic greatness.
If a film succeeds, we'll place it on the shelf of redemption so that people can finally recognise its true quality.
If a film fails, we will send it back through the portal to movie hell, never to be seen again.
Grab some snacks, sit down and get comfortable.
The show is about to begin. In this episode, we'll be talking about a remake of a cult classic action film from 1975. A diesel-fueled adrenaline shot of a movie that's jam-packed with brutal kills, intense thrills, and oil spills. We're of course talking about the 2008 remake of Death Race.
Far out! I feel like I just snorted the whole line of cocaine watching that trailer. There is no way this film's going to be bad. It's just going to be awesome.
That's where you're slightly wrong. This is one of those classic cases of critics versus audiences when it comes to the film's overall reception.
So like every other DC film at this point?
Pretty damn much. When this Paul W.S. Anderson film released just about a decade ago, critics mostly slammed it, but audiences mostly enjoyed it. The film currently sits at a 42% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 61% audience score. As for IMDb, it currently sits on a 6.4, and finally on Metacritic it has a 43 out of 100 meta score and a 6.9 user score.
God damn, the scores really are split on this one.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, the film stars everyone's favourite bold Brit, Jason Statham, alongside Tyrese Gibson, Ian McShane, Natalie Martinez, and Joan Allen.
So I bet you lovely viewers are wondering which side of the argument is correct. The audience or the critics? Well, it's our job to find out. So buckle up and start your engines and insert another car-related phrase here. Because you know what? It's time to drive
That's enough of the car lingo.
Vroom vroom, motherfucker! It's Death Race time! The film opens up with Rule 2 of the Lazy Screenwriter's Guidebook. Information via reading.
If that's Rule 2, then what's Rule 1?
Information via narration.
Ah, yes, of course. Side note, I can't stand when movies set in the future are only set a few years from when the film's released. What's the point? Just set it in the
present.
Not much is gonna change, guys, I promise.
So we see the previous year's Death Race's two drivers are pelting each other with bullets, trying to get to the finish line. Machine Gun Joe, played by Tyrese Gibson, is really hammering down at Frankenstein, and the situation looks dire.
Okay, I swear, if the entire movie is edited and shot like this, I'm going to have a seizure.
Right? Whoever made this film style, please stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
So Frankenstein, played by someone, and Case, played by Natalie Martinez, finally figure a way out of their predicament, and the mad dash for the finish line begins.
Our tank is exposed. He's got us, Frank. You have to drop back.
It's a quarter mile to the line. I can make it.
Oh no. I was so attached. Bye, I guess.
So we're introduced to our hero, Jensen Ames, played by Jason Statham, as he finishes work at the steel mill for the final time because it's closing down.
You want to check instead?
Soon as a company's out of business, not exactly. They never get it.
Wait, why are the cops here? Nobody's rioting, nobody's doing anything wrong. What's going on?
What the hell are you doing here?
Even the film doesn't know why it's happening.
Can I just point out that Statham assaults multiple officers and then just goes home to his wife and kid with zero repercussions?
Well...
Let's go crazy. Susie.
Oh. That's a thing that happened.
You mean that thing that I really don't care about because we've known these characters for all of 5 minutes?
Yeah, that thing. So Statham is framed for the murder and sent to a maximum security prison, where he instantly beats up all of his cellmates because I'm Jason Statham and I'm a tough guy. I'm Jason Statham and I'm a tough guy!
While looking over your record, I couldn't help noticing your occupational history. Seems you have some talent behind the wheel.
You're familiar with the death race and the driver the fans call Frankenstein. A man so disfigured by crashes that he's forced to wear a mask.
His return to the track is highly anticipated. And therein lies my problem. Poor Frank died on an operating table not long after his last race. You have the skills I require to keep the legend alive. I want you to become Frankenstein. Win 5 races, you go free. And Frank has won 4.
Win one more, you walk.
Well, look, there's rule 3 of the Lazy Screenwriter's Guidebook. Having the characters tell you stuff instead of actually showing it to you.
How much better would it be? Instead of that opening death race scene, we had a scene set a few years in the past just to show how good of a driver Statham is, and then give us a reason as to why he would quit. For example, he has a serious crash and wants to take up a less risky profession in order to be there for his family. That would not only eliminate the lame exposition, but give us more characterization for Statham, showing us how much of a family man he truly is.
On top of all that, the Frankenstein stuff is the type of thing that can be given to us by words only. We don't need to see it like we did in the opening scene because it isn't vital to the audience. It's perfectly fine to have a character say,
You're familiar with the death race and the driver the fans call Frankenstein.
Poor Frank died on an operating table not long after his last race. You have the skills I require to keep the legend alive. I want you to become Frankenstein.
Win one more, you walk.
that still provides character motivation pretty effectively.
So Statham accepts the offer and then meets his new pit crew, led by Coach, played by Ian McShane. I'm so sorry you're in this, Ian. They showed Statham around and provide even more exposition for the audience.
You can say that again. They spend at least the next 5 minutes explaining and talking and explaining and talking and explaining and... God damn it! When do we get to see people murder each other with cars?
For a film called Death Race, there's a noticeable lack of both death and racing thus far.
So it's the day of the first race and we're properly introduced to Case. Her and Statham have some banter and the race finally begins.
Thankfully, the actual death race sequences in this film are a ton of fun to watch. They may be poorly edited, but they are far more interesting and exciting than anything else in the film.
What makes these scenes so special and so amazing is that most of the effects are done practical. If you take a look at the behind-the-scenes documentary on the building of the cars and how they planned and shot the stunts, it's insanely impressive how much care they took to make the titular death races look awesome on screen.
It's important to note that during the race we see Pachenko, this guy from earlier, do the same hand gesture towards Frank's car that Jason's wife's killer made towards him as he was leaving the premises.
After the race, it's implied that Case may have tampered with the car's defense systems. We then see Statham and Hennessy talking in the control room, and Statham says he's not going to race anymore, but Hennessy convinces him to race by showing him a photo of his child.
We then get a scene of Statham and Coach talking about stuff, and the scene ends with Statham saying that he thinks Hennessy set up the murder so that he could be framed and come into the prison to play Frankenstein. Interesting.
In the next scene, we see Pachenko and his goons beat up Statham, but he fights back because I'm Jason Statham and I'm a tough guy. This scene is notable for one reason. It shows off the shithouse editing of this film.
just gonna do a quick summary of the second race. Statham spends the first half of the race targeting Pachenko and eventually kills him because I'm Jason Statham and I'm a tough guy. The second half of the race sees the release of a huge weaponized truck that kills a bunch of drivers, but Statham and Joe team up to take it out.
Joe is starting to get suspicious that Statham has been driving Frank's car the whole time. Which is completely justified. I mean, over the radio he didn't even disguise his voice because he's an idiot.
This is unrelated to the episode, but why is Lists in a maximum security prison? By all accounts, he's a level-headed super nerd who's completely harmless. What could he have possibly done to get himself locked up?
You see, Ben, he committed the most devious, disgusting crime of all. Piracy.
So before the final race, Statham and Joe have a discussion that we find out after a lap of death racing action was to construct an escape plan. Because this is a movie, Statham, Joe, and Case escape the prison without any issues at all and head to Miami, where they settle into a new, honest life.
Meanwhile, we see Coach kill Hennessy and the guy from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with a remote bomb that had previously been planted on Statham's car, as he says a stupid line directly to the camera.
As the camera pans out from the three of them, we hear a cliche closing narration from Statham as the film ends. Okay, folks, so we made it to the end of this film. We've seen some explosions and some deaths and some blood and gore and intrigue and people getting screwed over by the bigwigs and all this kind of incredible, interesting stuff.
It's time for the final verdict.
Kaboom, blam! Oh, excuse me again, dear.
Okay, so it's once again that time of the week where we get to talk things on a more casual basis. So we're going to start off with our positives for Death Race. So my first positive is that they put a lot of effort into this movie. They really did try to make this a great film, and as I said, there's a lot of awesome stuff done with the cars and the stunt scenes.
Oh yeah, the building of all the custom cars and stuff is on like Mad Max Fury Road level. And that movie was insane with their custom cars, and this is close to it, I'd say.
And for back in 2008,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
This movie was made for $45 million. That's a really small budget to make such impressive stuff, you know? My first positive is the actual death races, the thing that the film is named after. As I said, those are awesome. They're really just... They're not... I wouldn't say intense, but they're just a lot of fun to watch. I say that all the time, they're fun to watch. That's gonna be my catchphrase eventually. But nah, all the stunt work is fantastic. They look good on camera, it was filmed nicely, it may be edited to shit, but you know...
Horribly.
Yeah, we'll get on that in a second. Yeah. But yeah, death races are cool. The actual death races are cool.
Alright, so we're going to move on to negatives.
Yeah.
So my first negative is that the characters are very one-dimensional and hard to connect with.
Yeah.
Straight up, I don't care about them. That's all I have to say. We see someone's wife die and I'm like, that's a shame.
Yeah.
No, there was no connection made to any characters. The only character I guess we have a connection to is meant to be...
I'm getting a call. I'm gonna decline it.
The only character I guess we could really be connected to is Statham, but again, it's Statham. He plays himself.
He does play himself. And that's going to be my first positive.
You mean negative?
My first negative, it's hot and I'm tired. Jason Statham isn't trying on any level because he's just... Jason Statham plays Jason Statham. That's how it goes, you know? And that's all I have to say on that. Watch any of his movies, it's the exact same fucking character. Maybe living in a different place, different motivations, but he's the same character every time.
Pretty much. My next positive, Tyrese Gibson is good. Again, maybe one-dimensional, I don't care about him, but he does his acting fairly well in this, and I enjoy Tyrese Gibson as an actor, for some reason I do. But yeah, in this film I quite enjoy him. He seems to be the only character that makes sense of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I really got to say about it.
My next positive, and it's my last positive. Joan Allen was also good. You know, she's an Academy Award nominated actress, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she is. I should fact check before I do these things. But no, she was pretty good. You know, she played a decent enough villain. She was threatening enough and had enough power over the other characters to be like, oh shit, she's a big deal. So yeah, Joan Allen was good. Good job, Joan Allen.
So my next negative is Ben's first negative. So I'm going to steal Ben's first actual negative. The editing is horrible. There are too many cuts. I could go on and on, but watch a Year 12 media final and you're going to see better editing.
Unless you've never touched an editing program before.
Maybe you'll get worse.
So my next negative is that the screenplay, as we referenced, is lazy. It doesn't do anything really creative in terms of setting up conflicts and characterization and all that kind of stuff. Whoever wrote this, whenever they don't know how to convey information, it's like, well, let's put some text on screen. Let's have a character explain it. Sometimes that works, but a lot of times it just comes off as lazy, you know? And that's all I've got to say, so your next negative.
My next negative is, I kind of touched on it before, but the lack of colour is ugly. The entire film just looks washed out, and we get it. It's meant to be gritty and dark and like an industrial wasteland, but there's a bit of colour somewhere. Yeah. Not everything is grey and blood red.
The apocalypse doesn't bring down the saturation on the world.
If it does, then we are wrong.
We'd be proven wrong. But
yes.
We'll see in the future when the world goes to shit. My last negative, I believe, is that apart from Jason Statham not really trying, none of the other actors are trying, apart from Joan Allen and Tyrese Gibson. Everyone's kind of just... It seems like they're just phoning it in. Jason Clarke, this was kind of where he started, but... You know, he's kind of just... His accent drops in and out, and it just doesn't seem very motivated, as neither does Natalie Martinez. No one really seemed like they were 100% invested in their roles. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know these people, but I'm guessing. That's how it came off. So your last negative, Cal.
I don't have any more.
Oh, man.
Let's go to the next segment. Now that we've discussed the film in length, I think it's time to figure out whether it's a pass or a fail.
Yeah, fail.
It's a fail.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Can't do much more. Death Race is a film that had a lot of effort put into it, but it just didn't work out. There are some great action scenes, and that's all this film has really got to give you. If you want to watch it with a couple friends at a party, that's fine. But by yourself, Death Race just doesn't hold up as a good film.
Okay, so we decided it's a fail. Sorry about that. It's not worthy of the shelf. So what is it worthy of? The portal to movie hell. But who opens this disgusting, vile, evil portal? We decide that with a rock, paper, scissors.
Like everything should be decided with.
Rock, paper, scissors! Oh no. Rock, paper, scissors! Ah! Yes! Why is it always me?
Okay, Ben, you ready? You gonna get that lid open?
Okay, dude. Enough of the bullshit. I'm sweating up a storm here because the fires of hell are kinda hot, okay? I'm gonna open the lid, throw it in.
Alright. What's this?
Go. Now.
Thank you for watching this episode of Second Chance Cinema. We really hope you enjoyed it and agreed with us. And if you didn't, well, you didn't agree with us, and that's okay. We always love a good discussion.
Yeah, so if you did disagree with us, leave a comment. Tell us why you disagreed with us and why we're wrong. Maybe you've got a well thought out argument as to why Death Race is a masterpiece. Maybe you're a 13-year-old jackass. Either way, we're open to the discussion. Like the video if you did like it, and subscribe to the channel, obviously. Each new subscriber means a hell of a lot to us. Each view means a hell of a lot to us. So, if you'd like to help us get some more views and make us feel the love, share it with everyone you know. Your friends, your family, your colleagues, your workmates, your classmates, your local politicians, the President of the United States, the President of... I'm just gonna stop. There's other countries too.
We really hope you enjoyed your stay at the Second Chance Cinema. We'll see you again next time.
The President of France.